Mira Business FM, where business comes to talk.
It's Mira Business FM. It's the morning drive with me, Tim Elliott, and our next guest is someone who's been involved in animal rights organisations. She's been vegan since 1993. She's an advocate of how veganism, vegetarianism, not only benefits our health massively, but also makes a huge difference to the planet, to animals, and to feeding the world. She's someone, as well, who's had probably more written about her in national newspapers than most. I think that's fair, certainly in national newspapers in our home country in the UK and further afield. But that was a long time ago. It's the way it is when you marry a beetle, unfortunately. So with that out of the way, time to find out why she's here in Dubai. Heather Mills, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me this morning.
You're very welcome. It's nice to see you. Look, you're here for... It sounds very odd here, but it's not odd, and we'll find out why. But you're here for Gulf Food, the big F&B kind of sourcing event going on, twice as big as it was last year. Let's start with that. How's it been?
It's been phenomenal. We've already signed up 12 countries internationally. I've done Gulf Food for a number of years, and I actually came over, and then COVID happened, and I couldn't get home. So I ended up living in the Atlantis for 3 months. In a room.
What a hardship.
Yeah, I know. I was so lucky. I did a deal with them because nobody was there. So I said, well, I knocked like 90% off and just stayed there.
So you had the run of the place. So were you walking around at night looking at the aquarium thinking,
it was amazing.
Has there been an apocalypse?
Well, they ended up having the Kiss concert right outside that they'd pre-booked. Wow. So I stood on my balcony and went, oh my God, I'm absolutely blessed. And the weird thing is, my partner said, because you know that we had the first part of COVID, then there was a bit of a gap and they allowed people to travel. Yeah. That's when I ended up coming here because I was launching a load of products into Spinneys. And then I was only meant to be here 3 days. And my partner said, and I said, you should come because it could happen again and they might shut us down and lock us into freezing cold England in that time in the winter. And I forced him to come, and thank goodness I did, because being here was a blessing. You could actually go and walk around and do things. And I was ending up doing like 7 cooking shows at the Gulf Food Show because none of the chefs could fly in from around. So I was doing French, Italian, Greek, Moroccan. I even did a Greek tiramisu or taramisalata.
I was going to say, how does Greek tiramisu work?
Yeah. And so I've been a foodie for a long, long time, but it wasn't until I lost my leg in 1993 after working in the war in the former Yugoslavia, but didn't lose it there, clearing landmines, that I crossed the street, a police motorcycle, chopped my leg off on the way to Princess Diana's false alarm, crushed my pelvis, punctured my lung, and I didn't heal in hospital. I kept getting an infection. They kept chopping more of my leg off. And my girlfriend said, you got to go vegan. Now I'm a Geordie, you can probably tell. Sausage and mash was our daily food. And I said, well, what is vegan in 1993? And she said, well, I've cured myself of breast cancer. And I was really skeptical, but I wanted to keep my knee because I love dancing, sport. So she dragged me off to Florida, a place called Hippocrates, and started shoving all these garlic, wheatgrass poultices in every orifice of my body. And I was healed in 2 weeks. Stayed raw vegan for 2 years, and then freezing cold England, near on impossible. So, and then I started to miss burgers, fish, things. So I started to make them in the kitchen, and I created the first vegan burger, which eventually became the Beyond Meat burger. Many years later, I created the first vegan Domino's cheese, the first vegan McDonald's, the first vegan Burger King, because I wanted to get the corporates to get a piece of the vegan pie, and then they wouldn't trample on us as we got bigger.
See, I read that, and one of the press release that came through about you was Guinness World Record holder, and I'm thinking, well, I didn't know that. I had no idea. But you did McDonald's first vegan
90s
burger in the 90s.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I did all the vegan stuff that you see. So I did the first vegan egg, the first vegan caviar, and then I licensed the IP to different countries, and then all my profits go to animal sanctuaries. So my property businesses are how I live, but my ethical, environmental, vegan companies, my personal profits go to fund disabled kids and animal rights. That's what drives me, and that's my passion.
It's a complex web you weave, isn't it? I mean, okay, so plant-based since 1993, the benefits of that. One of the things I think for people that are vegetarian or vegan is it's not so much now, but back in the day, particularly 33 years ago.
Yeah.
33 years? Feels like yesterday. It was hard, and you had to try really hard to create something that was tasty, that was a bit more than.
All they ever gave you were boiled vegetables then when you went to a restaurant,
Or if
not
you were
even
lucky,
grilled.
you got a veggie lasagna, didn't you? That was
If you
it.
were mega lucky.
That was, I know.
Yeah, if you were mega lucky. So, yeah, I just thought, and for me, once it healed me, because I did it for health initially. And then, of course, once you're in it, you then learn about the animals because you don't associate that gorgeous, sheep jumping around, that little baby lamb, as that lump of meat in the supermarket. So you disconnect those to actually go and eat it. Because if a lamb's cuddling you and then you're eating it, you go, oh, what's going on? So I thought, people are addicted to fast food. So I needed to replicate the fast food junkie. So KFC, McDonald's, Burger King. And I thought, if I replicate them, we can get them off their, let's say, heroin, onto the methadone, which would be the fast food vegan stuff. Eventually wean them off onto quinoa, kale. I mean, my partner I met on a train was the biggest junk eater. He never believed 7 years ago that he would become vegan and love tofu. He was like, there's just no way on earth ever. And his friend said, don't you secretly get a burger when she's not around? He's like, no, because she makes me these vegan burgers and vegan schnitzels. And he said, it's just amazing. So I thought, let's do that conversion. I ended up 27 years, 84 products in Holland and Barrett, vegan duck, vegan this, and had to keep making new things. And when my kid was little, we were ice skating at Rockefeller Center. And it was the age of 6 when the questions go even more intense. And, Mummy, what's that smell? Oh no, that's a hot dog. I was like, oh God, I've kept my kid vegan for 6 years. It's over now. And I went up and said, okay, I'm not going to make a child do something, but they have to know what things are without getting into horror details. So I said, why don't you ask, she turned around and she said, what's in a hot dog, Mummy? I said, why don't you ask the gentleman? And he was,
you really wanted to find out?
He was from New Jersey, and he's like, oh, it's got some pig and some cow and all this. And she looked and she went, what? You put an animal in your hot dog? And she stormed off and she said, Mummy, you have to make me a hot dog. So then I developed a hot dog.
Right.
So every time it was like, Mummy, I want to have a cake, so then I have to do a cake. So I ended up learning all of this and then implement it into my factories and infrastructure. And then we became the largest manufacturers of plant-based in the world. And then Brexit came, which was an absolute nightmare because exporting was absolutely awful. It was a divorce with no documents. And so I ended up buying lots and saving lots of factories in the Northeast, like the Pepsi Walker's factory.
That, yeah.
And turning them around. And, we've had a real roller coaster on that. And then I took on investment for one of the companies, which I'd never done, because I know how to grow multi-million pound companies, but I'd never done a billion pound company, and tried to get the UK to take the IPO, but they wouldn't listen. They were really slow. So we did it over in America. But the problem with America was that they're all sort of spend loads of money and talk about tech, and they weren't real foodies, but they were brilliant at creating a 2 billion IPO. But they didn't look at, we were never a threat while we were in the millions. But when you get into billions, the meat and dairy industry, you need to have them on your side because they will lobby and destroy you. And that's why veganism has had this Gartner effect, because when the Beyond Meat had this success, even though I warned them, you need to spend half of all that money on messaging, marketing, pushback, and basically replicating all the big brands. They didn't do it. So it had a ricochet effect to us in Europe and the UK, and everyone dumped the word processed and ultra-processed on vegan. But actually, sausages, bacon, everything's processed. And if you said to me, which is going to cause you more harm, personally, health-wise, you're going to have way more harm eating the meat, especially in the UK where it's just pumped with antibiotics, and in America full of growth hormones. So the public are always duped, and people conceive things in the wrong way. But even I, who thought I knew everything about veganism, suddenly got Lyme's disease and couldn't eat my food. Like literally, my whole colon shut down. I kept saying I've got this severe pain. I was doing the Guinness World Records in speed skiing, skeleton, and everything to show you can be 47, have protein, and be muscly. I'm 58 now. And you can be vegan, because everyone's like, where did you get your protein? I was like, oh, God, people don't do any studying. It's like, for goodness sake. Anyway, I ended up being told I had to have half my colon removed, a stoma bag. I was like, no, no, no. I'm going to study this. So for 14 years, I studied with video through the colon, 500 ingredients, and found out about FODMAPs. So I worked with the Monash University in Australia, and I found out all I needed to do was stop garlic and onion. And I stopped IBS. I stopped bloating. Everything changed. And I thought, this is nuts. The amount of people that are struggling, some with acid reflux, some with bloating, some with pain, some without, and only bloating. So I ended up finding out, how can we make this as simple as possible? So I created No Bloat, done science videos, nobloat.com. You can see all the evidence. I put it into hospitals. They did tests on people, and we found out that type 2 diabetes was reversed, gone in 3 months. Type 1, down to 2 insulin injections a day. And so we ended up solving a multitude of things because it was an all-inclusive food that everybody could eat. It was Jain, it was kosher, it was halal, it was everything. And I launched it 3 months ago. It sold out in a week, and I went on our ethical online store, which is called alternativestores.com. So it's like Amazon, but ethical. And we help lots of small family businesses. And when I put it out and it sold out, I then said, we need to ask everyone. There's like 70,000 people immediately buying. Why are you buying it? And I thought it was all gut health. 50% were gut health problems, saying they literally couldn't travel, couldn't go anywhere without having issues. And they now take it on the plane. You add hot water, 150 mils. It's ready in 8 minutes, straight out the pack, or have it at night. And then the other 50%, weight loss, skiers, campers, bikers, hikers, athletes, convenience. So it's gone down a massive storm at the Gulf Food Show because there's nothing like it.
Well, we've got some here. So they're sachets of, I'll just read out a few different things. So sagaloo, which would be popular, quinoa, lentil, and vegetable chili. Nice. Pasta, lentil, and vegetable bolognese. No bloat. I mean, I can relate because I've had bowel cancer, and you have the associated issues with that. I had no idea how much gas there is in onion. So, I mean, I'm completely with you. The thing is, with all of this is, and I can tell, clearly you're an evangelist for, healthy eating the right stuff and what it can do, how it can heal. But the science behind it's important, isn't it? To get it across to people.
So important.
That it, you have backup.
And also, please don't everyone stop at having onion. Onion is brilliant for you if you're not intolerant of the FODMAP.
Just
so
be
for
aware.
me and you, onion is devastating.
Yeah.
And are you all right with garlic?
Not too bad. Do you know?
Because garlic's a fructan as well. And some people are one or other, but I'm both. I can't do either.
No, it's onion for me. I can't believe I'm sat here with Heather Mills talking about my gut issues. I didn't expect that, but today's another day. But the science behind it. Talk to me about the science behind it, because I know you do videos that talk
and we do
people
manometry.
through.
We did manometries, endoscopies, colonoscopies
Right.
to find out what was happening through the esophageal valve. Now, a lot of people have small hiatus hernias and they don't know.
Yeah.
And they're pushing up through their diaphragm, and that's putting pressure through it. And they have lower esophageal valves.
So
certain to what?
Hiatus
hernias.
hernias, yeah.
That's the way it starts.
Yeah.
I got mine because I was doing deadlifts in the gym, and my instructor kept saying, "You're so strong, do another one." And I literally am convinced that I felt a ksh. And I was like, "What's that?" And from then onwards, I went through a lot of stress with my divorce, and the Lyme's disease came out of the cell, because 60% of people sit with the Lyme's disease from dogs, cats, ticks, everything in the cell, and it's only when the immune system drops through major stress or illness that it comes out of the cell and it starts to rampantly attack the colon.
Yeah.
A lot of people have long, tortuous colons, so they twist and turn, so they can back up like a dam, where if you're not hydrated enough and you're eating foods that create fermentation and gas, the peristaltic movement moves, but they build up a blocker, and that's why you suddenly get huge IBS release with no control or severe diarrhea. And that's why these foods help calm the inflammation in the stomach, let the colon reset, start moving through, and you need to make sure you're very hydrated to keep everything going through. So when we did all these tests, we found out that there were 6 FODMAPs. So there's a mannitol, sorbitol, fructose, fructan, which is garlic and onions, oligosaccharide, which is beans, and fructose, and what was the other one? Yeah. So mine are mannitols and fructans I can't have. So I can't eat cauliflower. I blow up like a huge balloon.
I'm with you on that.
I can eat mushrooms, but only oyster. So I found out that people were getting reactions to button mushrooms, all sorts of mushrooms, but not oyster mushroom. And then I found out lentils were fine, but only to a micro dose. And if you literally went a microgram over on the lentils, you would get an issue. Beans were horrific, except black beans in a certain milligram. And so that's why I said, let's make it so that if someone even ate 5 packets, the stacking effect, and didn't go to the toilet for 3 days because they're initially sorting the colon out, they're not going to tip into the high FODMAP. So it's a bit like histamine. 1 week you can have red wine, tomatoes, chocolate, and there's nothing to do with FODMAPs. And the next week you can't. And it's about a glass. 1 drop too much in the glass, it floods the body with histamine. And that's why you get that blocked nose when you drink certain wines. And people blame it on sulfates, but it's way more than that.
Okay.
So it was 14-year study, because my mum was a homeopath, hypnotherapist and an acupuncturist at the Royal Marsden Cancer Hospital. She brought all of that alternate medicine 50-odd years ago into that place. And when she died, they built a garden in her name. So we were brought up on alternate medicine when people thought homeopathy and acupuncture was wacky.
It was all quackery,
a
wasn't
bit
it?
like vegan.
Yeah.
So moving forward, we need to sort our gut out. 90% of our serotonin is made in the gut. So if our gut's bad, our head's all over the place. It's foggy, or we're angry, or, we're short-tempered.
Well, there's a thing, isn't there, that if you have a great meal and you don't overeat, and you feel there's a feeling that you get that you're satiated and you're full, but there's a happiness with that. There's something in that, I think, and maybe we should be listening to our bodies more. I'm interested. We haven't got loads of time to talk to you, unfortunately. We've only got about 5 minutes, but with things like this. We had a question in. I'll give you the question first, then I'll ask you the question that I wanted to ask you. This was Chini. Thank you. Hi, Heather. I follow you on Instagram. I have a question. Usually diet food or gut-friendly food tastes like cardboard or something I don't like. It's a familiar issue. You've heard that before. If I'm used to spicy, flavorful meals, am I going to feel like I'm missing out, or does this actually taste like a real dinner?
Well, we've made a spicy one because we analysed which spices at which level can create heat without causing irritants in the gut, because I'm a massive spicy fan. And I was devastated when certain spices irritated.
Right.
So, for example, when you talk about garlic and onion, obviously not spicy, I use asafoetida instead. And I use different Indian herbs and spices that are anti-inflammatory in the gut. So we do a Mexican rice, we do a chili quinoa, which is absolutely fantastic. Then we do ones without heat, because a lot of people don't like spice. What was brilliant was one of the top chefs at the WTC on the True Bell stand yesterday. I tried to show him these products, and he's very French and very, no, I don't have packet food. I said, okay, I'll leave it with you. And then my friend who knows him basically sent me a video of him going, OMG, this food is amazing. She said he ended up eating 2 of the packets, and he's got all his, French food around him. So you're going to be really shocked. The only one I call Marmite, love it or hate it, is the sagaloo, because I love sagaloo and Indian food, but it's a proper sagaloo. It's got the bitterness in it.
Right.
And if you've got a sweet tooth, that is one that, you'll prefer the other ingredients.
Sagaloo divides opinion wherever you're from.
Exactly,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But my favorite, which I haven't got, well, I've got some in the back, I'll give you, is mushroom edamame Japanese and tofu katsu curry, which is gorgeous.
Really?
So I've covered Thai, Italian, Japanese, Mexican.
So who does the recipes?
Me. I have a PhD in food science and food nutritionist. So I developed them from day one.
Okay.
And then I have a team of 3 people that follow through. But they didn't know anything about FODMAP. So I love teaching food scientists. And what's fascinating, we've had 9 doctors and professors who knew nothing about FODMAP, who they said it's changed their patients' lives. They give it to them at the Harley Street Gut Clinic. It's the first food that's been stamped by endocrinologists, and it's Monash University stamped, Harley Street Gut Clinic stamped. There's no food that's been approved like that, that's ambient, grab and go, and clean, no preservatives, no additives.
And nutritionally...
And a long shelf life, because it's expensively freeze-dried. It's not dehydrated. It's not instant pot noodle rubbish. It's real food, and you're going to be really shocked. So make sure you send me a message afterwards when you've tried it.
I will. So it's nutritionally complete as well. Do you know what it reminds me of a little bit? And this is a compliment rather than a criticism. The MREs, the old American Marine Corps meals ready to eat.
It's going in the American Army, and the Spanish Army
reminds
came
me of those.
because they're suffering when they go. They get severe bowel problems, and going out to war and you've got to wear a diaper is not a good thing for a grown man.
It's really not a good thing at all. No, it's not soldier, roughy, tufty soldier, is it? Look, we've got a minute. You're a Guinness World Record holder, renowned for many different things, a career in the food industry, building a billion-dollar brand, all of that stuff. What are you looking to do next? Where are you headed?
Just keep educating and trying to... I'm a problem solver. So at the moment, everything starts with your gut, your happiness, your longevity, your life. That ricochets out into your family, how you feel at work. We're here for a finite amount of seconds. I've nearly died 4 times through numerous different things. And I just want to enjoy every minute and make a difference while I'm here, and not just stick my head in a goldfish bowl and pretend nothing's going on and the world isn't in a devastating place in certain areas. So that's why I do what I do.
It's good to talk to you, Heather Mills is... How do I describe you? How do I get out of this interview with you? How do you describe yourself?
Just a problem solver.
Okay,
in all areas.
Heather Mills, the problem solver, with us at Mira Business FM this morning. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you all.
Good to have you here. It is Mira Business FM.